You know you have the way she laughs a little too long at something you said. The way her eyes find yours across a crowded room before she quickly looks away. The small things, the almost things. And you've been telling yourself you're imagining it 'cause she's taken. She's with someone else, and a man like you doesn't go there. But here's the question that's keeping you up at night. What if you're not imagining it? What if she actually is sending you signals, real ones, and you just don't have the framework to read them yet? I'm Marcus, and this is Swana Advice, where we uncover the real psychology that creates desire. And today we're going to talk about something most channels are too afraid to touch. The hidden signs a woman gives when she's genuinely attracted to you, even when she's already in a relationship. We're not here to tell you to chase her. We're not here to tell you to blow up her relationship. We're here to give you something more valuable than that. We're going to teach you how to read women, all women, so that you stop guessing, stop second-guessing yourself, and start operating from real understanding. And I'll warn you now, the final signal on this list is incredibly powerful. It can shift everything fast, and almost no one recognizes it correctly when it's happening right in front of them. Let's start with the truth you've never been told. You have been blamed for not reading the room, for coming on too strong or not strong enough, for being too available or too distant. You've had women pull away after moments you thought were going perfectly, and you walked away convinced something was fundamentally wrong with you. Maybe you told yourself you're just bad at this. Maybe you decided it wasn't worth the effort. That was never true. This was never your fault. Nobody taught you this. What you were never given is a map. A real one, not pickup lines and manipulation tactics. An actual psychological map of how female attraction works at the subconscious level. Because here's what most men don't understand. A woman's attraction is not primarily visual the way a man's is. It's emotional. It's pattern-based. Her brain is constantly scanning for signals, not of how you look, but of who you are. And those signals operate beneath the level of conscious thought. She doesn't decide to feel something. She just does. And the tragedy is that most good men never figure out which signals to send. So they show up as good men and get friend-zoned, or they try to become someone they're not, and it falls apart anyway. From an evolutionary psychology standpoint, women developed the ability to detect strength, reliability, and high social value in a potential partner long before language existed to communicate those things directly. She can feel your energy before you say a word. She registers your confidence, your comfort in your own skin, the way you hold space in a room. These are ancient patterns. They're not arbitrary. And once you understand them, you stop trying to perform attraction, and you start naturally embodying it. That's the shift we're making today. Now, the signs she's already drawn to you, even if she'd never say it out loud. The first one is physical orientation. Pay attention to where her body points when she's near you. Not her eyes, not her words, her body. When a woman is genuinely interested, her shoulders, feet, and torso will orient toward you even when she's in the middle of a conversation with someone else. This is completely involuntary. The subconscious body follows the subconscious mind. If her feet are pointed at you while she talks to her friends, her brain has already decided you matter. You didn't earn that through words. You earned it through presence, through grounded energy that her nervous system registered without her permission. Masculine presence is the first trigger of real attraction. It's not about looks, it's not about height or money, it's about the quality of your energy in a room. Are you reactive, anxious, constantly scanning for approval? Or are you settled, purposeful, comfortable with silence? Women feel that difference before you open your mouth. Your body language is a broadcast signal. Make it calm. Make it intentional. A man who needs nothing is the most magnetic man in the room. The second sign, she creates reasons to interact with you. Not big reasons, small ones. She asks you about something she could have figured out herself. She sends you a meme or an article. She mentions something in passing that connects back to a conversation you had 2 weeks ago. None of these seem like much individually. Together, they're a pattern. She is manufacturing contact because her brain is trying to feed a connection it already wants. This connects to a trigger called emotional challenge. And it works like this. Women are drawn to men they can't fully predict. Not men who are cruel or unreliable. Men who have genuine standards, who push back a little, who don't hand over approval for free. When you combine warmth with mild unpredictability, you create polarity. And polarity is the engine of attraction. It's what makes someone think about you when you're not there. A playful tease does this better than any compliment. The next time she says something she's clearly proud of, instead of validating it immediately, raise an eyebrow and say, "I'm not sure I agree." Then smile. Watch what happens to her energy. Challenge creates desire. Instant agreement creates comfort. And comfort, while good, does not create fire. The third sign, she mirrors you. When someone is deeply engaged with another person, their brain begins to unconsciously copy that person's posture, speech rhythm, word choices, even breathing. It's a neurological process called mirroring, and it's a deeply reliable indicator of genuine connection. If she starts using your phrases, if she matches your pace when you slow down or speed up, if her body language tracks yours, she's already inside the emotional frequency of attraction. She is quite literally becoming like you without knowing why. Here's what this means for you. You can actually lead this process. Slow your own speech down deliberately. Take up space more intentionally. Create a rhythm worth mirroring. High-value men don't match the energy of the room matches them. If this is making sense so far, hit subscribe and join the Swana Advice community. It helps more men learn what they were never taught. And what we're covering today is exactly the kind of map that changes how you see every interaction going forward. The fourth sign, she remembers things you said that you've already forgotten. This is one of the clearest signals of all, and most men walk right past it. She brings up a detail from 3 conversations ago. She asks how your brother's job interview went. She references something you mentioned once about where you grew up. What's happening there? Her brain flagged those things because it cares about you, not as a friend. As someone it's evaluating. Memory is emotional investment, and emotional investment is the raw material of attraction. This is where intentional listening becomes your most underrated skill. Most men hear words. High-value men hear context. They remember what she said about her mother. They circle back to ask how she's feeling about that situation at work. They see her not just as a pretty face, but as a full human being with a story. And when a woman realizes a man has genuinely seen her, not performed seeing her, but actually listened and retained and cared, something unlocks in her that no amount of charm or confidence can replicate. You become safe and electric at the same time. That combination is rare. Rarity creates value. Value creates desire. The fifth sign, she finds reasons to touch you or to be physically close to you. Not in an obvious way, in a plausibly deniable way. She brushes your arm when she laughs. She sits just a little closer than she needs to. She finds an excuse to fix your collar or hand something to you in a way that allows contact. These are not accidents. The human body doesn't seek proximity to things it doesn't want. These are subconscious moves. Her brain is testing physical connection in microdoses. This is where gradual physical touch matters on your end as well. Not aggressive, not grabby, but intentional. A brief, warm touch on the upper arm when you're making a point. Your hand lightly on her back when you're guiding her through a crowd. These moments release oxytocin in both of you. They build a silent physical language that exists alongside whatever words are being spoken. Keep it light. Keep it respectful. Make it feel natural rather than calculated. The man who knows how to touch with confidence and restraint at the same time is the man who lingers in a woman's mind long after the night is over. The sixth sign, she gets slightly different around you. Ask the people who know her or just pay attention. Does she laugh more? Does she sit up straighter? Does she suddenly become more animated, more articulate, more alive? Women, like all humans, present differently when they're being observed by someone they want to impress. But here's the specific tell. If she becomes slightly nervous around you, not uncomfortable, just activated, that is desire in its early honest form, a little stumble over words, a sudden self-consciousness about what she's wearing, a brightness in her eyes that wasn't there 5 minutes ago. That nervousness is not anxiety, it's biological voltage. It means her system has identified you as significant. And here's the trigger that causes this calibrated vulnerability. You probably think vulnerability means weakness. That's the training most men received. The truth is, it means the opposite. When a man shares something real, something with weight, something that cost him something to admit without collapsing into it or using it for sympathy, he becomes profoundly magnetic. He becomes three-dimensional. He becomes a man with depth. And depth in a world full of surface-level people is electrifying. Tell her about the thing you failed at and what you learned. Tell her about the fear you pushed through, not to impress her, not to perform, because it's true. And real things build real connection. Just don't live in the wound. Share it and move on. A man who has been through fire and isn't burned by it anymore is the kind of man a woman builds fantasies around. The seventh sign, and here's the one I warned you about at the beginning. She gets slightly cold or distant with you right after a warm interaction. Read that again. Right after a moment where the connection felt real, where something passed between you that both of you noticed, she pulls back. She becomes formal. She focuses on her phone. She finds something else to attend to. And you not having this map probably felt confused or rejected. You probably thought you did something wrong. You didn't. You did everything right. What you witnessed is a woman managing her own attraction. Her system lit up and it scared her because she's already committed somewhere else. The pullback is not rejection. It's evidence. It's her brain trying to create distance from something it wants too much to be casual about. Indifference doesn't need distance. Only genuine pull requires management. This is the trigger of controlled unpredictability. Not cruelty, not games, but the strategic understanding that dopamine is released. Not when reward arrives, but when reward might arrive. The brain lights up brightest in the space between contact and the next contact. When you are consistently, warmly, calmly present without being constantly available, you become a source of anticipatory pleasure. She thinks about what you might say. She wonders if you'll be there. She notices when you're not. That noticing is desire. That wondering is attachment forming. You don't manufacture this by playing games. You live a genuinely full life. You have purpose, interests, friendships, ambitions that don't revolve around any one woman. Selective attention, the practice of having enough going on that your time and focus feel genuinely scarce, is not a tactic. It's the natural result of being a man who matters to himself. A man who is so busy building something real that his attention when he does give it feels like a gift worth receiving. Now, let's zoom out for a moment. Why does any of this matter when she's already with someone? Because we're not talking about strategy to steal someone's partner. We're talking about the fact that these signals reveal something about you. They reveal that you have presence, that you create attraction instinctively, perhaps without even understanding what you're doing, that the version of you that already exists is capable of generating genuine desire in a woman who by all social rules should not be looking. That's not something to be ashamed of. That's data. It tells you what you're already bringing to the table, and it asks you a harder question. Are you bringing it in the right places with the right woman with real intention and real availability? Because the skills we've walked through today, presence, challenge, emotional depth, calibrated vulnerability, physical warmth, genuine listening, controlled unpredictability, these aren't for chasing unavailable women. These are for becoming the man that available women can't stop thinking about. The man who walks into a room and changes the temperature. The man women bring up in conversations months after meeting him. That man is not a myth. He's not built on charm tricks or manipulation. He's built on self-knowledge, on understanding how desire actually works, and choosing to embody the qualities that create it. Not from neediness, not from ego, but from genuine respect for himself and for the women he connects with. You don't need to be perfect to create this. You need to be intentional. You don't need to be flawless to become this. You need to be real. The men who understand what we talked about today don't chase, they become. And what they become is so genuinely compelling, so quietly rare that the right woman doesn't need convincing. She just knows. Something in her ancient wiring recognizes what's standing in front of her and she makes her choice. That's not luck, that's design. You've just quietly leveled up. Not because you learned a new line, because you now see the architecture that most men never know exists. If you're ready to stop chasing and start becoming the man women genuinely desire, subscribe to Swana Advice now. Turn on notifications because the next one will shift your reality.